We're going to bring it down to Gore Creek and learn a little bit more about the 16th annual Vail Winterfest. Here's more.
Hey, Trish. I am here with Molly and Paul, the ice sculptor himself. He's up here early today. He went to bed pretty late last night. He was sculpting all night, so we are lucky to have him here. Right behind me, you can see. Paul, tell me, come in here, and Molly as well. We can get all three of you guys in here, all three of us. So tell me, do you have a name for this sculpture?
What's the name, Molly?
Okay, so this is the 16th annual. So 16 years we've been installing the Ice Sculpture Winterfest installation down on the Gore Creek Promenade alongside Paul Wertin and his team from Alpine Ice. And this year we have decided to title it New Wave. And you'll see some of the previous Winterfest and just kind of the vast array of styles and themes that we've had throughout the years, but we've worked alongside a visual artist named Ben Roth up in Jackson, Wyoming, who's done a number of other public art projects for us, but excited for the two to collaborate, and what they have put together is nothing short of spectacular, and we're just seeing these early stages here. But Paul,
Yeah.
I should take
Paul,
it over to you.
Paul tells me they're about 60% done. So, Paul, how long has it taken to get to 60%? And then how much longer to get to 100%?
Well, that's a good question, and it's tough to answer. So we had a long design process. We went and kind of back and forth on a lot of different. This is probably our fourth concept that we went through design-wise, and then we've been working in the studio creating the pieces that go together for weeks, and then we've been on site for about 3 days now, and we'll be done in another 3 days.
So all the ice gets made somewhere else, and you bring it in.
Correct. Yeah. So
Okay.
we make blocks of ice
Okay.
that are 20 inches by 40 inches by 10 inches thick and weigh 300 pounds, and then we cut out the shapes, and then they come. You can kind of see the seams in between them, and then we just take them out here and put them together like Legos.
Yeah. And he told me there's a few there's some lingo as well that goes into ice sculpture. They call it torching, and so when they bring the ice here, Paul, you actually can explain it a little bit better than me, because I didn't know how much actually went into it, because they got to keep these ice blocks clear and see-through, and it is a little bit harder than you would think to do that. So, Paul, tell me a little bit about why you can't do it in the snow versus stuff like that, because it turns opaque or.
Sure. Well, no. So what we have is, we start with clear ice, and then we put them all together, and we kind of get them a little messy by we use water to glue the seams together, and it drips down, and we use tools on them later. We'll polish them up with our tools, and then we'll have snow everywhere, and then at the very end, what we'll do is we'll torch it. So we take a big like the weed burner torch, and just lightly touch all of them as the final step, and that glazes the outside. It just melts that outside layer, takes off any excess snow or any of the tool marks or anything that we've got left in there, and makes them nice and super clean. We don't do it when it's snowing, because they get a little wet for a second, and then the snow would stick to it, and then the exterior wouldn't be clean.
Gotcha. And it also looks pretty cool when you're torching. So what time are you torching these?
Well, it depends. So we're hoping to be complete by end of day on the 8th, which is Sunday. Yeah. So day after tomorrow.
So he's going to be working on these all weekend. So if we have any viewers out there that want to come by and see a master ice sculpturist is that how I would say it?
Sculptor.
Sure. Sculptor. Sculpturist sounds more fancy to me. But anyways, if you want to check it out, come by here. We are right next to the river, right in front of Mountain Standard. Paul is doing this. He's finishing up this one. And then also, if we turn over here closer to Colorado Footwear, there's you can see that fence over there. He's also building some sculptures over there. Or is that Ben that's doing that one over there?
Well, it's all a collaboration together. Yeah.
Okay.
So Ben and I worked together. Ben really created the design.
Yeah.
And then I took it and ran with it and said, okay, we can do it in ice. And then myself and my partner Jake are putting them all together.
And we should talk about the lights, though, if we have one second.
Yes, we
That's
definitely have one.
really something that Paul has dialed in seamlessly over many, many years. But the works illuminate in the evening with LED lighting strips that Paul has been able to expertly bury and embed within the ice sculptures. They illuminate, change colors in the evening from dusk until about 10 p.m. So he's turned the lights on for us right now. You might be able
Oh,
to
yeah.
see or may not, but
Yeah.
that itself is a true part of the art installation.
It's very cool. And as you can see in those pictures, yeah, once you light it up, it makes the whole ice sculpture glow. So very cool to see. A lot of effort that goes into this, and sounds like a lot more planning than I anticipated.
Right. It's not just a week of working down here. It's been months of going back with the Art and Public Places Board and dialing in what the concept will be. And we love just this particular design, and it will engage the viewer, have some great social media opportunity. We want people to enjoy the art. We don't want them to touch it too much necessarily, but
That's a rule. Hey,
yeah.
I heard some horror stories about somebody knocking a piece of ice over a couple years ago.
We don't
and
think
we
that will
hunted her down.
Yeah, we don't think that will happen again. That made some news. So
Yeah, so don't be that person. You know, Paul works super hard on this. Everybody that worked hard on this, like I said, there's hours and hours and hours of work that goes into this. So please just respect it and enjoy it. Take some pictures next to it. Tell people about it, and Paul's work as well. Can we find your work on Instagram? Do you have pictures of your other sculptures?
I mostly have just a website.
Okay.
Which is alpineicesculpture.com. And then I've got all the previous years in there and just other things that we did.
Sweet. And I had a personal question for Paul. So, Paul, I've been shoveling a lot, and I feel pretty chiseled right now. I feel like I'm in good shape. What do I got to do to get an ice sculpture of me?
First, you need to be able to lift the
Like
300-pound
Hercules?
block.
Oh, yeah. By myself. Yeah.
We just try to lift one at a time. Yeah.
Okay, all right. And I am curious because around here, there's some stairs to get in here, or it isn't the easiest place to get ice to. So what's the game plan? How have you been?
Well, we kind of get as close as we can, and then we can roll them in on carts and hand trucks and whatnot, and then we slide things across the snow. And you just, especially as I have more and more birthdays, I try to be a little bit smarter about how I
Yeah. Lift with your back, right?
always lift with your back.
Totally.
One of the
Okay.
reasons we have it down here on the promenade is because of the shade from the buildings. So it lasts a bit longer.
So Molly was telling me that typically the ice melts in about 4 weeks, but because they get it right next to the river here, right next to these buildings that give it shade throughout the winter, sometimes we can make it last a little bit longer, right? Correct.
Mother Nature depends.
Yes,
Just depends, as long as it doesn't rain.
Yeah. Oh, that could be bad. Yeah. And then at some point, the sculptures melt to a point, and then you take them out, right? Or do they melt all the way down, and they're like, all right, we're done?
We remove them when they become structurally.
Yeah, and it depends. Some of them, I believe, some of them just sort of get skinnier and skinnier, and they just sort of disappear. Which might happen with these. We'll see.
Yeah.
It just depends on what type of weather we have. If we have some big warm spells, and then we start losing the structure of the ice, then we'll get taken out.
Awesome.
It'll have run its course.
Awesome. Trish, I know
Yes.
you're back at the studio. Do you have any questions for these two?
Well, I mean, no, you guys covered a lot of it, especially how you get all this stuff in there. But I'm gonna go through the stats once again. 90 blocks of ice weighing 27,000 pounds. We got 50 undulating wave-like ice sculptures. The tallest one is gonna be 9 feet. I mean, this is pretty darn cool, and it is such a showstopper any time of day, but especially at night. And very Instagram worthy. Go get your picture taken. And Paul, do you have a lot of people that while you are working will just stop and like in amazement and be like, how do you do this? You must have a lot of looky-loos and people asking questions.
For sure, yeah. Last night we were working, and it was sort of a chorus of, "Oh my gosh, that's so cool!"
Yeah.
And we hear that over and over, and that's great to hear. It's really fun to do. You're working hard, and it's like, but you're getting all these nice, encouragements from people, and people like to ask how it's done, how do you get the ice, and all that. And we do our best to answer them as best we can.
Yeah, and Molly, that must be great feedback for you and the Art and Public Places Board to know that this is something that we look forward to every winter. 16th annual. This is great that it's been going on for this long.
Oh yeah, we're thrilled, and it is definitely something that people enjoy coming back year after year and just seeing what the artists are going to bring into the community next. So we're thrilled. I think this is going to be a really spectacular one. The way it's kind of spread across the entire length of the Gore Creek Promenade, as Dom was just showing you, further down towards the west, it's truly going to encapsulate the entire park area.
Okay, okay, well, perfect. Well, thank you so much. We'll let you get back to work. We know you're trying to get it all done by Sunday, and it takes hours and hours and hours of work. But this is the 16th annual Winterfest. Paul Wertin with Alpine Ice, Molly Eppard with the Art in Public Places, and they're working kind of around the clock to get this ready to go. But it will be on display pretty much until weather and sunshine takes its toll. So you'll have some time to look at it. Hey, right now.